Hare Krishna. It's a little late, and I'm a little tired, but late at night. But I really want to continue reading from Advaita Prakasha by Ishana Nagara. And we finished chapter 6, and we're going to start chapter 7. And this is the life, activity, appearance of personality of Godhead as Shri Advaita Prabhu, one of the personalities in the Godhead appearance of Chaitanya Leela, who appeared in 5 features 500 years ago to inaugurate the religious practice for this age, which is made very simple for a very complicated time. And that religious practice is the chanting of the holy names of the Lord. And that is the recommended religious process, especially the congregational chanting. So this is chapter 7, with the glorification of Advaita, expansion of the personality of Godhead Advaita. Ma Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nirvisesa Sunyavadi Paskitari Satarni. All glories to Sri Chaitanya, all glories to Sitanath, all glories to Nityananda, along with all the devotees. Now, listen to the story of Brahma Haridas, which I will describe in brief. Lord Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, performed his pastimes in the mood of a cowherd boy in Sri Vrindavan Dham. While tending the cows one day, Sri Nandanandana ate the remnants of one of the other cowherd boys. When four-headed Brahma saw this, he thought, "This boy cannot be the source of creation. His behavior is just like that of an ordinary boy. If he were the Lord, how could he engage in such degraded activities?" Thinking in this way, Lord Brahma meditated and with divine vision saw Krishna Chandra in his abode of Vrindavan. When he saw that Krishna was again eating some remnants, he thought, "This is not Krishna, it's someone else." And Lord Brahma was thus bewildered by Krishna's illusory energy. He stole away the cowherd boys and calves. Understanding what Brahma had done, Krishna, the original Narayan, performed a wonderful pastime that astonished even Balaram. Expanding his internal potency, Krishna took the exact form of the cowherd boys and calves. He then continued his pastimes as before. Those pastimes which are inconceivable to the yogis continued for the next 1 year. After 1 year, Lord Brahma returned and was astonished to see Krishna engaged in tending the cows as before. Brahma thought, "Where did he get these calves and boys? They are still there where I kept them." With eyes of knowledge, Brahma could then saw that Krishna had taken the form of the calves and cowherd boys. Brahma thought to himself, "I'm a fool for not recognizing Krishna. By stealing the calves and cowherd boys, I've committed a great sin. I will pray to be forgiven." Thinking in this way, Lord Brahma approached Krishna. In order to teach Brahma the truth about himself, Krishna manifested a spiritual city there. He sat on a divine throne and mentally called innumerable Brahmas, Vishnus, and Shivas there. Anantashesh, the associate of Mahavishnu, also came, and they all took shelter at Krishna's lotus feet. When the four-headed Brahma arrived at the door, he saw it was guarded by an eight-headed Brahma. Seeing the four-headed Brahma, the eight-headed Brahma smiled and inquired, "Please tell me who you are and where you want to go." Four-headed Brahma replied, "I'm known as Brahma, and I want to see Krishna in his form as a cowherd boy." The eight-headed Brahma laughed loudly and said, "I have never heard that there was a four-headed Brahma. Till now I thought I was the smallest in Narayan's creation." And hearing this, the four-headed Brahma was astonished and thought, "I never imagined there was an eight-headed Brahma." His face dried up. He folded his hands and requested, "Please be merciful and let me see Krishna." The eight-headed Brahma replied, "I'm an insignificant Brahma. There are other more powerful Brahmas guarding the many other doors. You are requesting me to let you in, but without Krishna's permission, who can allow you in? Since Brahmins are not prohibited entry into Krishna's inner place, you may wait here while I get permission." While the eight-headed Brahma was speaking, Anantashesh, who always glorifies Krishna, arrived there. Seeing Ananta's transcendental form, the lotus-born Lord Brahma offered his obeisances and took the dust from his feet. Shri Ananta inquired, "Who are you?" Brahma replied, "I'm the four-headed Brahma. I'm here to see Lord Krishna. Please cast your merciful glance on me. Take me to Krishna." Shri Anantadev inquired, "Please tell me exactly who you are. There are so many four-headed Brahmas." Brahma then thought, "How amazing it is that there are innumerable Brahmas. How can an insignificant being like me know the glories of Krishna? What kind of introduction can I give to save myself from this embarrassment?" Thinking in this way, Brahma fainted. By the mercy of Krishna, Brahma regained consciousness and said, "The four Kumaras, headed by Sanat, are my sons." Shri Ananta said, "Oh, now I understand who you are. I have seen your sons in Goloka dressed as perfect yogis." Brahma thought, "I'm most insignificant. By unlimited pious activities, I have such wonderful sons. Actually, these sages were born from me like the moon is born from the ocean. Now, by the inconceivable potency of Krishna's devotees, I have now become free from shame, which is equal to death." Then Brahma folded his hands and said, "Please be merciful. Show me the rare moon-like face of the Lord." Shri Ananta said, "Oh, without the Lord's permission, who is able to go to the site of Krishna's pastimes?" After saying this, Shri Ananta went to Govinda and said, "The father of Sanat Kumara is at the door waiting to see you." Shri Govinda replied, "Bring him here. He's the engineer of this small universe." Shri Anantadev thought, "The father of Krishna's devotee is certainly fortunate. That is why Brahma is respected." Shri Anantadev rushed back, took Brahma to the second door. On seeing the four-headed Brahma, the 16-headed Brahma then inquired, "Who is this?" Sankarshan replied, "He's a Brahma." In this way, the Supreme Personality of Godhead of Krishna had many hundreds of Brahmas guarding the many hundreds of doors. As they proceeded on, the Brahmas had progressively more and more heads. There is no end to Narayan's creation. He has so many assistants who are superior to me. Conversing in this way, they passed through many doors until they arrived at Govinda's transcendental assembly hall. In that hall, Brahma saw countless Brahmas, Shivas, Ganesh, Vishnus. He saw thousands of Davarshis, Gandharvas, Indras, Kartikeyas, and associates of Ananta. Who could count the millions of Chandras and Suryas? The personified Vedas were engaged there in offering prayers. The super-excellent effulgence of Krishna's body derided the radiance of millions of suns. As the lotus is not seen in the sunlight, his body, colored like a fresh black cloud, was invisible, being covered by his effulgence. That effulgence could not be compared with the shining of millions of mountains of emeralds. Krishna's supreme pleasure potency was standing on his left side. Her transcendental effulgence pervades the three worlds. Radharani's bodily effulgence defeated the effulgence of the moon, which shines like hundreds of millions of golden lotuses. Indeed, Radha's effulgence intoxicates the mind of Krishna. The brilliance of Radha's body derides that of hundreds of mountains of Gaurachan. Relishing loving exchanges as they engaged in Radha Krishna's service, Lalita and the other Shakis were standing on all sides. Seeing that assembly, the four-headed Brahma trembled. Still, he did not see Radha Krishna. He could only see their effulgence. The grandfather of the universe prayed to Shri Ananta, "Where is Govinda? Please show him to me." Shri Ananta replied, "You are unable to see him due to your serious offense of stealing the calves." Hearing Shri Ananta's statement, Brahma admitted his guilt and then prayed to Krishna with tears in his eyes. Lord Madhava is very kind to his devotees. He's an ocean of mercy. He was pleased to hear Brahma's prayers. So he revealed his eternal form to Brahma and said, "You're excused of the offense of stealing the cows. You will be born in Kali Yuga in a family of Yavanas, and by seeing Krishna Chaitanya you will be delivered." Brahma was astonished to see Krishna's form, and overwhelmed with an ocean of ecstatic love on hearing his order. After Brahma offered repeated obeisances to Radhasham, he received Krishna's permission, returned to his abode. On seeing the advent of Kali Yuga, Brahma took birth on earth in the year 1450 in the village of Budana. Some people say that Prahlad Maharaj descended as Haridas, but Advaita Prabhu said that they both combined together. The main purpose of his appearance was to deliver the living entities. Although he was famous for being born a Yavana, he was not tinged with even a trace of impurity from that birth. While being brought up in the house of a Yavana, he lived on milk alone. Thus he grew day by day as the moon waxes. Brahma Haridas was born with memory of his previous life, so due to his previous habits, he would constantly chant the holy names. He left home as a 5-year-old boy and visited many places before finally arriving in Shantipur. Haridas had long arms, an effulgent body, so Advaita, the reservoir of all knowledge, recognized him as the incarnation of Lord Brahma. Following social traditions, however, Advaita inquired from Haridas, "Which caste have you taken birth in? What brought you here?" Haridas replied, "I'm a low-born mlecha. I have come to see your lotus feet." Advaita Prabhu said, "Stay here, study the scriptures, and all your desires will be fulfilled." Haridas said, "I am fortunate to obtain the association of an ocean of mercy. By your loving dealings, my mind and heart feel relieved." Thus, Haridas stayed with Advaita Prabhu and carefully studied grammar and literature. He gradually became knowledgeable by studying subjects like philosophy, and he attained pure devotional service after studying Srimad Bhagavatam. Haridas's glories are unlimited. He could remember anything by hearing it only once. His explanation on verses was like a jeweled necklace. One day, while sitting in a lonely place, Haridas submissively inquired from Advaita Prabhu, "I have realized that you are an incarnation of the Lord. Other than you, who can deliver the fallen living entities?" Hearing his humble words, Advaita replied, "Listen, my dear Haridas, by authoritative opinion of the scriptures, I cannot say who is inferior or who is superior, but I consider one with saintly behavior to be the best person. If mlecha is engaged in the 8 kinds of bhakti, he's no longer considered mlecha. Rather, he's accepted as a Brahmin. Whoever worships Krishna is the best of mankind, and whoever is averse to Krishna is the lowest. Without attaining the mood of the gopis, one cannot attain the lotus feet of Krishna. Therefore, by attaining that mood, one achieves the greatest pleasure. Haridas said, "The inconceivable mood of the gopis is not attained by millions of lives of pious activities. Therefore, O Lord, please tell me a simple process for conquering Maya and attaining Krishna." In reply, Advaita said, "Nothing is unknown to you, yet still you accept me as your instructor. You constantly chant the holy names in order to establish religious principles and deliver the living entities. All of the Supreme Lord's unlimited spiritual energies are invested in his holy names. One becomes free from the threefold miseries simply by a reflection of chanting the holy names. Indeed, by chanting the holy names, one is freed from the bondage of Maya. The holy names of the Lord are like touchstone, as they are nondifferent from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. When one is fixed in chanting the holy names, pure love begins to awaken. And by continually chanting, one achieves the treasure of love of God. Krishna, the original personality of Godhead, is the fruit of the desire tree of transcendental love. When the tree deeply rooted, the fruit becomes attainable. Even Krishna says that his name is superior to himself. One is relieved of all offenses by chanting the holy names. Therefore, it is best to chant the holy names, for all one's desires are fulfilled if he has a taste for chanting. One who does not accept instructions from a guru or Vaishnava will not achieve perfection in Krishna consciousness for millions of yugas. Vaishnavism is the perfection of all religious systems. Among such followers, one who does not identify with any ashram is unlimited glorious. The sannyasi is symptomized by complete renunciation. He possesses the qualities of a Brahmin, and he wears a kopan and outer cloth. If someone develops such detachment from material life and attachment for Krishna's devotional service, he's counted amongst those who are indifferent to external formalities. A person with such pure symptoms will certainly attain the lotus feet of Radha and Krishna. After instructing Haridas in this way, Advaita had him shave his head, decorate his body with tilak and tulsi beads. Advaita had Haridas dress in kopan and outer cloth, and then he initiated him in chanting the holy names. Haridas then began chanting the holy names in a cave on the bank of the Ganges. As he became intoxicated with love of God, he became known as the crest jewel among the Vaishnavas. Coming to his external consciousness, Haridas offered his obeisances to Advaita, who blessed him by saying, "May you attain Krishna. Your name is Brahma Haridas." Haridas replied, "I am your servant." Haridas then accepted simple cloth and vowed to chant 300,000 names in a day. After finishing his vow of chanting, he would engage in preaching. People were amazed to see his transcendental activities. Listen to the astonishing incident that took place one day as Haridas was engaged in Sankirtan. At that time, the crest jewel of logicians came there and remarked, "This fellow must be a bowler." Hearing this, the great Pandit Krishnadas said, "He is intoxicated with love of God and does not have the slightest feeling of material miseries. The transcendental goddess of learning Saraswati resides on his tongue. Therefore, he incessantly chants the holy names. All the scriptures reside within his heart. By the order of his spiritual master, his name is Brahma Haridas." Then the meaning of his name, Brahma Haridas, was fulfilled, as the logician proudly asked him a question. It is said that both the Supreme Brahman has form and no form. Who can say which is factually the beginningless cause of everything? Why does the Supreme Brahman create something that has such variety? Why are there different gradations in the living entities, happiness and distress? From this it appears that there's some fault in the Supreme Lord's management. Hearing this, Haridas humbly replied in the following sweet words. Though I am an insignificant living entity, I would like to say something in reply. Let Krishnadas Pandit be the mediator, and kindly listen, O Brahmin. The scriptures state that the Supreme Lord has a beginningless form of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. His bodily effulgence is formless and all-pervading like the sun's rays. The eternal form of the Supreme Brahman is unknown to the Jnanis, therefore they accept the Lord's effulgence as the Supreme Brahman. But the fortunate devotees of the Lord are able to see his eternally perfect form, for the Lord is known by pure devotion, which is inaccessible to others. The scriptures state that just as the omnipotent Lord is eternal, his material creation is also. The eternally existing creation is sometimes manifest and sometimes unmanifest, according to the direction of the Supreme Lord. I will briefly describe how the creation is wound up after the final devastation. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu relishes eternal bliss. He is the cause of all causes and the original being. The Vedas confirm that Maya creates the material world after being empowered by the Lord. Because Maya appears to act independently, the Vedas say that the Supreme Brahman is impersonal. The conditioned souls enjoy happiness and distress while wandering through various types of bodies according to their fruitive activities. There is, however, no fault of partiality in the Supreme Brahman because of this. Don't get angry, but consider the truth in this matter. Hearing Haridas' conclusive statements, the Brahmin was astonished. At that time, Advaita Prabhu arrived there and manifested an effulgence as brilliant as millions of suns. Seeing his effulgent body, the Brahmin offered respects with folded hands. Advaita said, "O Mahashaya, why are you so humble before me?" The Brahmin said, "O Lord, I've understood who you are." Advaita Prabhu said, "I am fallen and powerless." And the Brahmin said, "You are the Supreme Lord. You can deliver one from his sinful reactions." Out of compassion, the all-merciful Lord empowered him to chant the Krishna mantra. Then Shri Yadunandana offered his obeisances to the Lord, who blessed him to obtain the treasure of love of Godhead. Shri Yadunandana is one branch of Shri Advaita Prabhu's disciplical line. He became known everywhere as the crest jewel of logicians. He was equal to the Gandharvas in the musical science. By the mercy of Advaita Prabhu, he attained the essence of Krishna consciousness. Brahma Haridas possesses transcendental potency. He obtained pure love of God by daily chanting 300,000 names of the Lord. He chanted sometimes in his mind, and sometimes softly with his tongue, and sometimes loudly. After finishing his chanting, he would accept Mahaprasad and relish topics of Krishna from Advaita Prabhu. One who always remembers Haridas Thakur's transcendental activities certainly becomes fixed in Krishna consciousness. Brahma Haridas is a reservoir of compassion. I offer millions of obeisances at his lotus feet. Praying at the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Shri Advaita, always desiring the mercy, I, Ishana Nagara, narrate Shri Advaita Prakasha. And that is the 7th chapter. Hare Krishna.